Hey everybody, welcome back to the Evexia Exchange. What's going on, Warren?
Just another day in paradise, Scott. I'm happy for this episode.
Oh yeah, we are really excited to have a good friend of the club, Joe Burton, with us.
Yes, sir.
Joe is the president and CEO of Nova One, a digital health platform that unites preventative and curative behavioral health care in one integrated experience. Bear with me as I read through his extensive background. He's a seasoned executive and visionary leader in the digital well-being and behavioral health space, and is the former founder and CEO of Will and president of Headspace and Rethink Care. Joe brings extensive industry expertise in scaling B2B and B2C digital health platforms, driving innovation in mental health, and leading high-growth SaaS and clinical services businesses. Joe is an alumni of Harvard Business School and author of the bestseller, Creating Mindful Leaders. At Nova One, he focuses on transforming behavioral healthcare, delivering and fostering a more holistic approach to mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Wow, that's a mouthful. Joe, welcome to the podcast.
That sounds pretty good. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
You've been busy in your life, haven't you?
A little bit.
One thing you left out, which we uncovered during the pre-meeting, was you have some experience doing improv and stand-up as well.
Well, you guys have done your research. I do indeed. Yeah, I lived in New York City for about 18 years. And for about 5 years, I was part of an improv troupe. And then made the mistake of doing stand-up for about 6 months, but none of which ever turned into any money. I think I made $500 as a stand-up, $15 at a time.
Nice.
That's hard money.
That's good money.
Yeah, and but it made me a lot more comfortable on stage. So it was great and so much fun.
Yeah, and I think we asked that because we saw you've got a keynote that's on YouTube that's about mindfulness and leadership, and it's just fantastic. And you're so comfortable on stage. We had to ask how you get there because that's not a
I appreciate it.
Thing.
Well, it used to be something I was very afraid of early in my career, and now it's turned into a happy space for me.
Nice.
Yeah, look, I watched it again last night. My second time watched it, and the second time was better than the first time. You captivated me the minute you got on that stage. It was really cool.
I appreciate it. Yeah. I hear it's really good.
Yeah.
And you said you've done keynotes for hundreds of keynotes for Fortune 500 companies. So a pretty illustrious career. I think I jumped the gun here. So today's episode is about the changing nature of healthcare. I just got so excited to get into it. So we're talking, the Evexia Exchange is really an exchange of ideas around fitness, wellness, and community. So we always like to bring on interesting people that can help us weave in, what's going on in the world. And you're an expert in healthcare, and so we thought we'd bring you in and talk about it. And this is also part of our member spotlight series.
Right?
Joe is a member. You've been with us for how long?
About 8 months or so, and loving it.
Nice.
Yeah.
It seems like longer. I feel like we've been talking forever.
Yeah. There's a family vibe at Evexia. It does feel longer.
Nice.
It's been amazing for me.
You were checking in when we first met. You were just a cool cat. It was like a match made in heaven. We just started chopping it up, and you're just a good dude. I mean, super, super sharp and smart, and you bring a lot to the table for us.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, I felt like I fit right in.
Yeah, man, you really did.
Yeah.
I think I met you at a Connection Lab. I think that was our first.
That's right.
Yeah. So very, very cool. Yeah, so member spotlights. Joe is our first member. Really, we've got so many interesting members that are doing so many interesting things related to fitness and wellness and healthcare. So,
and what's great is that they're offering their time to spend with us.
They really, we appreciate it.
We're so blessed. You guys,
my pleasure.
You were a busy man. So tell us what you're up to right now.
So we're in the midst of coming out with new features, content functionality for the Nova One platform.
Okay.
We actually just went through a major rebranding. And the focus on Nova One is recognizing so many problems have been created within digital health.
Yeah.
And we want to show up with the antidote to that. And so, for example, when I first started, we were building Headspace, then I created my company, Will. There were a handful of us creating solutions around stress, sleep and insomnia, diabetes, et cetera. Now there are literally thousands of point solutions. So technology has become overwhelming to a lot of the employers and health plans that we serve, and certainly to members. The average member is working at a company where they say, like, oh, here's 10 different apps for all of the things that plague you.
Right.
And as a consumer who's looking for help with any of these mental, emotional, or physical well-being challenges, to say, like, here's 10 apps, figure it out, it's not a great starting point.
Yep.
So we're looking to bring the antidote to that. And our focus at Nova One is bringing preventive and curative care together on one platform. And I think one of the biggest challenges in healthcare is they've been separated really from the outset. And when you look at the stats of what that's created, it's a crisis. So mental and emotional well-being and physical well-being in the healthcare space in general are sort of two separate things.
For sure.
Right.
For sure.
But as a human being, like what the mind wants, the body will follow. And the body either enjoys that or pays the price.
Yeah.
Right. So when you think about serious mental illness, substance use disorder, all these major issues that are growing in this global crisis that we're facing for mental health, keeping those two separate has done a real disservice to patients, members, employees, whatever you want to call us as human beings.
Right.
Yeah. So our focus is how do we bring that together, get people to the care they need faster. And it's been a lot of fun.
Nice. So, well, really exciting. We're going to get into real specific topics on the changing nature of healthcare, but just real quick, tell us, what is the consumer experience for the platform? Like, what is it? How does it work? Like, what is it?
Sure.
Sort of walk us through the consumer experience.
So today we serve, and I'm happy to say I've been in the role now for about 5 months. And so I was recruited to come in and sort of lay out the strategy for the future of the company.
Yeah.
We're focused on one platform where a member can come in on the preventive side of things. And we have, we have 6 health plans, a couple thousand employers, and 14 million members that we serve. So as those members are coming in, we want to introduce them to preventive care so they can learn skills like mindfulness, cognitive behavioral therapy, CBTI for sleep and insomnia challenges, sort of life skills that will help them with whatever their mental, emotional, and physical challenges are, right? We also put them through assessments. And so that's on the self-care, put them through assessments, a variety of clinically validated assessments to find out what's going on with their mental, emotional, and physical health. And then we immediately get them to our provider.
Wow.
So we have right now about 25 providers in our network. And these providers focus on serious mental illness and substance use disorders. For the average population, that's about 5% of your members or your employees are going through these kind of challenges, but it's over 50% of your healthcare costs. Right, so 5% driving over 50%.
Is that right? Wow.
So we're really focused on what I would call sort of the deep end of the pool for behavioral health, mental and emotional well-being.
What a powerful tool. That mental health is everything for us. We preach that here at Evexia too. It's all about, how does one reduce their mental stress? There's no outlet for them as much as I would think.
Yeah, and as you think about just as kids, there are a couple of things we're never taught as children. Like one is sort of managing your thoughts and emotions before they manage you, right? And it catches up to all of us sooner or later. And the other is how to be a parent.
Right.
In both cases, like let people bump into each other, they'll figure it out, right?
No playbooks.
So this focus on helping people learn life skills for managing their thoughts and emotions, I think is really critical. Yeah. I've been through a lot in my own life where I wish I had these skills. As a teenager in particular.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really took me till I was about 50 to figure out I needed it and where to get resourced on it.
Yeah.
For the very reasons you're talking about. I don't even think mental health was something we really even talked about as a society until maybe 20 years ago.
Yeah, the stigma around it is, I think it's gotten a tremendous amount better. That's the good news.
Yeah.
But the access and the cost of care are still major challenges when it comes to mental health.
It was crazy because for me, it was always free because it was the ocean was my savior. Surfing and just being in the ocean, and then exercise and working out. So those are 2 readily available resources that don't cost you anything.
Yeah, it's amazing to grow up in that kind of environment.
Yeah.
The resources I had were a little different. It was like my dad saying, "Shut up, get out of here." It wasn't amazing advice. Yeah.
We take it's funny. We take that for granted. I grew up in LA near the beaches. He grew up here near the beaches, and you just think that that's how life is.
Yeah.
When you got this such beautiful nature that you can really. The water's always been a therapeutic for me as well.
No doubt.
Yeah. Well, living here in Mill Valley, we've been here for about 12 years, and we have 2 teenage sons. I can't tell you how jealous I am of my sons.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. It's like, you guys have any idea how amazing it is to live here.
Yeah. So you're delivering this all through a digital platform. This is like either on your PC or your phone.
It's both. So the preventive side, what we call our digital front door, starts on a mobile device. It's how we all live our lives. Yeah. And so bring folks in to the preventive side, taking them through assessments, and then getting them to the curative side. Those are live clinicians. So we have over 25 curative partners that focus on things like substance use disorder, serious mental illness, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, et cetera. And when the members connected to them, they're then interacting with a live credentialed expert.
On Zoom or some, or
They're
some
there
FaceTime
as well
or-
as live.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so it's either in person or via teletherapy.
Yeah, right.
But these are, I think the early stage of the business was like, oh yeah, teletherapy, and you get sort of your, what I would call sort of average run-of-the-mill therapist, just like in bulk, talking to folks.
Yeah.
The providers we work with are in the deep end of the pool, like very specific specialties around the highest cost, highest acuity issues that someone can face with their mental health.
Right.
You see, you had 14 million members.
Yes.
That's amazing. And then before we continue to go forward, what really made you get into this field of mental health? What was it that really struck you?
Yeah, it sort of goes back to my childhood. I would say that the short answer is desperation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I was the youngest of 6. And we grew up in a family, a household where substance use disorders created a tremendous amount of damage over multiple generations. So just starting with my grandparents, my mother's side, my grandmother was an alcoholic. She fell asleep smoking a cigarette one night, after a binger, and started a house fire.
Oh, wow.
Burned our house down. She died in that fire.
Oh, wow.
We were not very well to do, fixed the house, everybody moved right back in. On my father's side, both of his parents suffered from alcoholism. Both died, one late 50s, one early 60s, just, decades of not only abusing their body, but abusing themselves, like very violent household. So my father grew up in that. He came out of that. Both of my folks dropped out of high school, 9th, 10th grade. My father went to the Korean War. He came back with a full-blown challenge with alcoholism, in addition to PTSD and depression, never treated. And so that we grew up in my grandfather's home because, we couldn't afford to live anywhere else. All of those challenges led my dad at an early age. He was I think 45, goes to work, hungover from the night before, functioning alcoholic at that point, takes a swing at his boss, gets fired at 45, never works again.
Wow.
So we grew up on welfare, in poverty, in a neighborhood where that was pretty common. Mm. Yeah. So fast forward, all of those life challenges, when you have those kind of mental and emotional well-being issues in the home, violence, substance use disorders, the next generation shows up, and several of my siblings, fell victim to that as well. So I lost an older sister to drugs. A year later, I lost my twin sister to suicide. She also suffered from addiction and bipolar disorder. And several years later, lost an older sister to alcoholism. She got a form of highly treatable cancer, but her body was just ravaged from decades of abuse. Right. And so after I lost my twin sister, I sort of stopped my career, and I took a look at my own life. At the time, I was a global COO of a company called Ogilvy and Mather. We had about 20,000 employees around the world. I was doing better than I ever thought possible. But I was struggling with my own challenges with addiction. My addiction was workholism. Yeah. So
we're familiar with that.
Yeah, you're familiar with that one.
100%.
Yeah, it hits a lot of us. And so I was working, 12-hour days on the regular, traveling 70% of the time. Herniated 2 discs in my back multiple times. That left me with debilitating back pain. Then I had insomnia. That turned into asthma, and that turned into kind of the attitude that you don't want from your global COO. Yeah. So while I was going through all of that is when all of these family traumas with my siblings hit. And when my twin sister took her own life, I sort of stopped my career and said, I want to do something else.
Wow.
And so for the last 17 years or so, I've been focused on creating digital health solutions with a focus on mental and emotional well-being. And it's really hard work, but it gives me a tremendous purpose. Oh. I wake up every day just thinking the world needs this.
Yeah.
I can say in hindsight, I never woke up when I was the global CEO of an advertising, the second largest advertising group in the world. The world needs more ads. I never once had that feeling. But it's despite all the heartache and pain, it's really joyful work.
Now you got 14 million people looking up to you and saying thank you for what you're putting together.
Well, we have a great team that serves serves our
we want
members.
to say thank you for being so vulnerable.
Yeah.
It wasn't some really, hard to talk about topics.
No, it's my pleasure.
Yeah.
It's that lived experience. I think it's important to share it.
Yeah.
That's what I love about Evexia and what we're doing, because our members and now our people that are on our podcast are coming to authentic, bringing it authentic. And that's what we're all about here doing this, and like Scott said, that's an amazing story, but you're such a, you exude wellness, and you can just tell it's your passion. And it's hard to find that.
Well, and you exude joy and peace. Yeah. There's a certain level of like just underlying joy to your vibe. You know what I mean? So it seems like you've done a lot of personal work too, as well.
I absolutely have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can say it wasn't always that way.
Yeah.
I can tell you at 40, as a COO in a public company, I was not that guy at all. It was a stressed out, faster, cheaper kind of guy.
Yeah, right.
Like, let's go, hit the numbers, do it or else. And I do find going through this kind of work and working in this kind of field helps me be at a more healthy default mode.
Yeah.
Just like enjoying life, enjoying people.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So something happened where you thought that what you were seeing in your own family from a mental health crisis was fixable. It seems like you must have got an aha moment or something like that. Like, I can actually change this thing. I can change these patterns.
I did. I had, after my twin sister's death, the aha moment I had was I was seeing multiple doctors for pain management because the back pain was just unmanageable. Like, I had reached points where I just felt like I didn't want to live anymore, like that level of pain. And I
know that pain.
Yeah, it's just I wouldn't wish it on anyone. But seeing doctors and having them so easily say, and keep in mind at the time I'm like 35 to 40. Oh, we recommend spinal fusion.
Oh, yeah.
And finally, I got to a doctor through a family friend, a pain specialist at NYU in New York City. He said, "That's crazy. We're going to give you a couple of steroidal epidurals. We're going to give you, put you on a recovery program. We're going to put you into therapy, physical therapy." And I was on a fast track towards recovery. At the time, I was also seeing a variety of doctors on the physical therapy, chiropractors to help manage back pain, et cetera. And I ran into a doctor who's like, "Hey, he's like, I want to recommend something to you, meditation." And at the time, keep in mind, 40-year-old global COO, type A personality. I'm like, what are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
I'm going to start meditating?
He asked me to slow down and
Yeah,
stop
he's like, no,
thinking for a minute.
Yeah, not even that. It's like, what if somebody found out? I mean, this is a different time. That was 17 years ago.
Yeah.
But I got into that. And as a result of that, I started networking with investors who were focused on mental and emotional well-being. Got connected with the investors at Headspace. And they're like, "Oh, we got this great thing, but it's burning through money. It's on the verge of going under." So they brought me in to turn it around. And I was able to connect my personal mindfulness and meditation practice with a business doing that to help millions of people.
Nice.
And then applying sort of my background and my knowledge to that, we've had something, the kind of success I'm really proud of, what we've created there. It's like we've 18 million users.
Wow.
At Headspace, and just I've been gone from there for a while, but really proud of what we did there. And then I took the same to create my own company, Will, and once again focused on what do people really need. And that one I took a little bit of a different approach towards, where Headspace started as sort of mindfulness for the masses. And if we're honest with ourselves, originally it was like yoga moms want this, right? And then we expanded the kind of content to attract a male population and an older population and a younger population. So really mixing up the vibe and the content to truly make it for everyone. Yeah. At Will, I really focused on, this is for professionals. It was a B2B solution, so we're serving employers. And the focus there was people just like me, super stressed out, worried about everything, moving too fast, don't have the skills to manage their emotions, their relationships, the chaos around them, and they're interacting with other professionals who have the exact same shortfalls, right? And so a little bit of a different twist on similar themes. Yeah. But it's what we found in all cases, like there's millions and millions and millions of people that need this kind of help.
I think you have, and with Will, I remember I was watching your podcast, your keynote, It was Mark Coleman, one of our members. He was on one of our episodes like 2-3 weeks ago. He was one of your meditation gurus, I think, that you outsourced to your clients.
That's right. We had over 100 MDs, PhDs, certified experts
cool.
on the Will platform. Not only was Mark one of ours, he was the first.
Oh, wow.
I love Mark Coleman.
Right.
He's the best mindfulness and meditation trainer I've ever worked with.
Yeah.
He is a fantastic human being.
Yeah, he is.
And his partner, Lori Schwanbeck, is also amazing. She's also an Evexia member.
We love it. Yeah, we love them both. They're dear friends, Evexia members. We just did a podcast with Mark. Lori's going to be coming up in a couple of weeks, and they're an integral part, just like you are, of our ecosystem here. Yeah. Well, congratulations on all your success, and not just in the scale of it, but in the alignment with a greater purpose. And I think that's why we connect with you, because that's what Evexia is. Yeah. It's a business, but what we call conscious entrepreneurship. Business with a purpose, with a higher purpose.
Yeah.
And so it's
well,
really cool.
I feel it. It's a. I went from I had my home gym, and my two teenage boys making fun of me. Because they're both, weightlifting, and they're both athletes now, and they're both wanting to test dad.
Oh yeah,
for
sure.
And
we know that.
So I went from not being able to keep up with them to now like shaming those boys.
Running circles around them. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Come get some of that, boys.
Body by Evexia, man.
That's
Body
right.
by
That's
Evexia.
right.
I love that.
Yeah.
I lost that battle. My son is 26 now. He's just a physical specimen. He can do 20. What do you call them? Muscle ups. Yeah. I went and visited him in Portugal, and we were running on the boardwalk, and there's a little calisthenics thing built into the boardwalk, and he just did 20 muscle ups.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's insane.
I'm like, all right, you got it.
He's a powerhouse.
Yeah.
And your son's a stud too.
Yeah, football player.
Yeah.
Running back. You met Aiden?
Not yet.
He's working here.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
He's behind the front desk.
You only see him once in a while, but same thing. Let's get back to
Well, Joe, let's get into the topic at hand. So the changing nature of healthcare. What's changing most right now?
I think the industry is waking up to this idea that we've separated mental and physical health.
Yeah.
And witness 93% of healthcare spending is on physical health.
Yeah.
Right. So meaning your body's falling apart. We now have to, you're likely in crisis mode.
Yeah.
You're seeking help out of desperation, and that's where 93% of the dollars get spent.
Right.
All right. Only
crazy.
7% is spent on mental and emotional health, or what is called behavioral health. But when you understand the human condition, this everything starts here.
Yeah.
Right. So we're not treating that and this together. You have this problem where it's not healthcare; it's sick care or crisis care, where it's like you come in because something's broken, you're hoping it can be fixed. There's a lot of research that shows, one, not only is that the wrong way to do it, we need integrated mental and physical treated together, but two, once you hit that physical slope where things are broken down, the likelihood that they will break down again and then again and then again after recovery, if you're lucky enough to go through recovery, increases each time.
Yeah. Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. And so that's our starting point, is we have not healthcare, we have sick care and crisis care. And I think the industry is changing that to say, okay, we need preventive, a lot more focus on preventive care, give people the kind of skills to avoid hitting a wall, because too many are hitting a wall, and pick a topic that's getting worse every year. Stress, anxiety, depression, diabetes, obesity, you name it. The other thing that is changing is a heavy focus from using digital tools to manage what I call fragmentation. So you get into the healthcare industry, there could be, one of 500 different things that you're managing, some sort of crisis problem, and there are specialty care providers in all of those buckets. Mm-hmm. So too many people get into healthcare and it's sort of like, where do I go? It's like, okay, let's start by getting a primary care physician appointment, which is going to take months in this situation. Then they're going to make a referral to one of that fragmented ecosystem of providers. That's going to take 4 to 5 months on average to get in. And in the meantime, you're going to deal with that crisis for months and months and months. Yep. And what happens with the vast majority of people is they actually give up on it. Yeah. I'm not doing that. And they suffer through their condition. So we're using now digital tools to help identify people earlier. So on the preventative side of things, I like to think of it as sort of the funnel. You get people in, get to know them. What kind of things are they focused on? Do they focus on stress or anxiety or insomnia? Start interacting with them and asking them questions about their lifestyle, what's going on with their work, getting them to take assessments. And this is all part of a digital experience. And then we can get them to curative providers faster. And so with the kind of work that we do at Nova One, we get folks to these high acuity providers within 5 days.
Wow.
Right. So compare that to 5 months.
Right.
It's a dramatic life change opportunity for people who are going through it. Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. I wish we could have 10,000 Evexias, just because what you're saying on the digital platform, we kind of do it here with brick and mortar, right? Our values here are to come here and we want you to be least amount of stress. We pride ourselves on the front desk, making sure that when people walk in, we greet them so they're not stressed out, right? And then it's the connection with the community which reduces the stress. And then it's the exercise, or it's the mindfulness in our group classes. And we kind of have, outside of writing prescriptions, medical prescriptions, or anything that goes with that category, we have everything to cure. I feel the least the move the needle to preventative. And that's what it's a beautiful thing, what we're trying to accomplish here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And get members like you who can educate on how to get through the minutia of waiting 4 to 5 months and how to make it quicker. So I think the combination of what you're doing and have a brick and mortar and what we provide is such a win-win. We got to get into your network.
Yeah,
we
that's
have
right.
10,000 locations.
Well, one of the things I love about Evexia, I've heard you both speak about sort of like creating a blue zone here in Marin.
Yeah.
And I really feel that. There are nine different elements of the blue zones that give people longer and happier and healthier lives.
Yeah.
And I really feel that with the community and the variety.
Yeah.
So it's not just a gym or a club or a membership, but I've met so many people here that I'm now going out to dinner with, playing pickleball with.
Exactly.
My wife and I are getting together with, and this includes some of the amazing trainers here.
Yeah.
But creating that kind of welcoming vibe, and then opening people up to the Connection Lab, where they can go and meet people who are opening up about life traumas or figuring things out, or learning skills, or a mindfulness training with someone as amazing as Mark Coleman.
Yeah.
It's I think it's a blessing. Yeah, it's really, really well done.
Thank you.
We did a whole first episode on just the origins of Club Evexia, and we probably talked about it a little bit, but his experience was really just building your traditional gyms, and that's originally what we set out to do before Evexia, but it wasn't until we found this space, we actually walked into this building, and it just hit us like a ton of bricks. It was like a sanctuary. We had to see through all the tech wires in the cubicles hanging from from the previous tenant, but we saw that this needed to be much more than just a gym. And then what we heard in the building process and in the pre-sale process, because remember, we're coming out of COVID, everybody's isolated, is everybody needed to get back to community. And that was the big aha for us. Yes, we're going to build the best gym in the Bay Area, and we're going to make a wellness center out of it that takes advantage of this sanctuary setting. But then we're going to integrate connection labs and group work and people like you and Mark Coleman and Lori. And that was, to me, I think that was the real secret sauce here, to help that epidemic of loneliness that you talk about a lot too.
Yeah. Well, it's paying off. I've had dozens of conversations with people here at Evexia who share that very thing. Like, I was lost during the pandemic.
Yeah.
I realized I wasn't speaking to anybody. I wasn't getting out. And then you do that for a couple of years during the pandemic, and you come out of the other side of that. You now have ingrained routines.
Yeah.
I stay at home. I work at home. I don't see people. I don't interact much. We're not going out to dinner, et cetera. So I think Evexia is like a secret sauce for creating that kind of community.
Yeah.
For folks who are listening who aren't aware, like the global loneliness epidemic is terrifying.
Serious, right?
Yeah, you can pick any. It doesn't matter by race, gender, location. The kind of work you do, it doesn't matter. Pick a category, and you're approaching somewhere 40 to 50% of people feel lonely in their life.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
And I often quote the Harvard research on happiness and life longevity. This study's been going on for, I think, 87 years.
Oh, yeah, right.
A couple thousand participants. They track them over the duration of their entire life, and the number one indicator of life happiness and longevity is, do you have people in your life that you love and care about?
Yeah.
Do you interact with other human beings?
That's right.
It's amazing.
And we're going to talk about that a little bit more, and there may be a whole other episode on it, but AI, we risk AI just furthering that issue and that epidemic, because with so much resources on your phone, you can almost have psychiatrists and best friends and lovers, masked through this ChatGPT or whatever the chatbot is, and that's scary. That's scary. So we're going to talk about that. So we're leaning in sort of on the opposite. How can we foster community more? How can we foster in-person connection more as this world of AI takes over? Was there anything else you wanted to talk about before we move on to like how are people in the community, like Evexia members, how are they sort of driving this change that you're seeing?
So I think the consumers in healthcare are demanding better.
Yeah.
And I think it's a pretty amazing thing. And you think about, we were just talking about, you can find everything on your phone.
Yeah.
We all live our lives through apps where it's like, I want to make a reservation for tonight for 6 people at a great restaurant. That's going to take me 3 minutes. I'm going to do it all online. I'm going to get a confirmation added to my calendar and communicated to the rest of my dinner party.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yep.
That's kind of what people are expecting in healthcare these days. And I think the industry, particularly large health plans, insurers, are waking up to how poor the user experience has been for decades. Mm-hmm. Right. So if you think about the average health plan, you go onto their website and it's like, all right, who designed this mess?
Right.
Right. It's not modern. It's not approachable. It's not intuitive. And when you look for care, you're going 3, 4, 5 clicks deep to find what you need. Like you got to be Indiana Jones to like find, like I need an appointment. Like I'm having a challenge, And so I think consumers are driving that. This should be like mobile first, easy, intuitive, and then I want to get to care. Yep. So we are finding more and more of that. This is a big focus for us. At Nova One, let's be the antidote to what's going on in the space.
Yep.
But also have these large health providers and health plans wake up to the idea of like, hey, the stale, boring, clinical way of doing things is not how consumers want to consume information.
Right.
Right. How they want to book appointments, how they want to interact. The other thing I would say is when we think about consumers driving these kind of changes, the AI stuff is not. I would say like I'm on the fence right now. Half of it could be really good, and half of it's sort of like really concerning, right? Yeah. So I think on the good side of things, AI can play a great role on navigation, meaning how are you feeling? Oh, because you're feeling that way, we're going to get you to this content and to these providers, right? That's a big focus of what we do. And that's wonderful, right? That helps people get to human care faster. Mm-hmm. But the human care part is really critical in that, right? Clinicians who are experts, MDs, PhDs, experts in what they do. Yep. I think that one of the challenges that the space has right now is a race to the bottom with a lot of what we're seeing with like TikTokers and YouTubers and influencers. Like, here's what I think you should do about, pick a topic. Yep. And the problem with that is when you're thinking about your mental, emotional, and physical well-being, you want evidence-based advice, science-based advice from credentialed experts. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And I think because of all the challenges with the healthcare system, a lot of people are just like, I'll take it from so-and-so because they're funny and I like their TikTok. Yeah. Right? That's really dangerous. The other downside is everyone's aware of AI hallucinations, just telling you random stuff that's not true. Right. But now we have a new diagnosis, AI psychosis, where people are losing track of reality. Yeah. I was talking with a little bit before we started the podcast. My kids joke about like glazing people. I'm a big Caitlin Clark fan. Like I love what she's done for the WNBA. I think she's amazing.
I love watching her.
They'll watch it and be like, "What do you watch?" Like, Caitlin Clark, man, she's got 20 and she's cooking. Oh man, you're glazing Caitlin Clark again. The problem with AI and this, particularly with AI psychosis, is it's all glazing all the time. Like, great idea, Joe. Amazing idea. But reinforcing things that aren't good for somebody's health can be really dangerous. Right. Like, give up your meds, drop your therapy, take your own life. These are things that are real concerns, and we have to keep an eye on.
Yeah, that's wild. Just off topic a little bit, talking about the doctors and human connection with doctors. I have my primary care doctor. I think I've met 2 times. I can never get to him. It's always my physician assistant, and I try so hard to bypass her to get to him. It's almost impossible. And I've always challenged the system because she doesn't know as much as my primary doctor, but that roadblock is as part of that process. And I just don't know how you can ever break those barriers. It's just frustrating. So at the end of the day, I give up on seeing my doctor because I don't want to deal with it. That's what happens to me.
Yeah,
That's why.
That's part of why our business has been successful.
Yeah,
like getting people to the right clinician for the right need in under 5 days.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know your pain.
Yeah.
The sad thing is it's the industry standard.
Yeah.
That is the intentional model of like, we don't want the expensive folks spending time with you. Yeah. We want the lower cost folks, and they're on a timer.
Yeah. I want to dive deeper into the AI discussion, but just real quick, a technical question, because the way I understand healthcare is these healthcare providers like to keep you in their ecosystem. So how does Nova One and companies like yours encourage them to? I guess do you encourage them to? Would you encourage me as a user to get outside of my healthcare network if there was a consultant or a healthcare provider that I needed to talk to that I wasn't getting access to? So am I asking that right?
You are. Yeah. And I think the answer is
I understood that.
Yes and no. And here's why. A good health plan network has the right providers for the vast majority of care required.
Okay.
And keeping folks in network does help to keep the cost down because there are pre-negotiated arrangements with each of the providers.
Right.
If you provide this service, it's at this cost, and this service is at this cost. So that protects a health plan and the employers that they cover and their members from overpaying.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it is a good idea to do that. Where I say, the yes and no part is if a health plan hasn't done their job of getting the right providers, then you have to go outside of network to get the care you need. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
So the reason we're really focused on that 5% serious mental illness, substance use disorders. We have all the preventive care for anyone who's like, if you're thriving in your life and you just want more skills or you want to bounce back from an occasional challenge, we got you covered. But if you're in the deep end of the pool, like I need serious and very expensive help, that kind of high acuity care, we want to get you to the right folks faster. So it's the health plan's job to have those providers in network.
Yeah.
And if not, everyone pays the price.
What does the intake process look like to get in?
So for our solution, those 14 million members work for about 2,000 employers. Those 2,000 employers are part of about 6 different health plans that we service. And so the normal intake would be like, hey, welcome to the company, employee. You've been hired. This solution is available to you. Sign up here, download the app, you're ready to go, right? And then from there, once they sign up, it's really a relationship between us, a confidential relationship between us, our solution, and the member.
Got it.
What are you working on? Yeah. What are we recommending next? Are you interested in assessment? We want to get you to the right providers. And then there's a sort of rinse and repeat loop there where over the course of time, we have the data to help them get better. And we engage the kind of providers we work with are value-based. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean that's just fee for service. They're actually paid based on, are you improving the outcomes for these patients, for our members? And I think this is another big change in healthcare is the industry is really moving pretty rapidly now toward value-based care. Are you delivering what you set out to deliver? Are you improving the outcome for this individual? Right. And there are lots of different validated measures on, different types of assessments on, are you feeling better than when you started?
Yeah.
Right. Based on the treatment, the care, the medication, the skills that you're learning, et cetera. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That was a question I wanted to dive into, but we'll get back to AI. If I have high blood pressure or if I have a heart arrhythmia or something like that, it's easy to measure physical characteristics. But has that been one of the barriers stopping more resources and attention from going into mental health? Is it's harder to measure progress other than just asking somebody subjectively how they're feeling?
I think it is. And there are, it is for sure. But the truth is, a particular condition is very rarely a condition on its own. It's usually related to a lot of other things. I should take a step back and say, just across the United States, 6 in 10 people have one chronic condition, like a disease that they're managing.
6 in 10.
60%. Okay.
Wow.
4 in 10 have 2 or more conditions that they're managing. These are chronic diseases. Yes. And so when you think about someone going into the doctor and saying, oh, I'm suffering from insomnia, right? You say, okay, great, we can treat insomnia. You can do that in a variety of ways, including medication. The healthcare industry is too fast, too quick to go to medication. It's usually a Band-Aid. Or you can take a step back and say, what's going on with your lifestyle? Are you eating well? Are you overweight? How's your stress? Do you suffer from anxiety? What's going on with your work? What's going on with your family? And when you get into all that, you may back way up and understand, oh, you have someone who suffers from clinical anxiety, who overeats, who has high blood pressure, who is now obese, who's not sleeping well, right? And if you're giving them sleep medication, you miss the first 5 steps of managing that. Yeah. You might also find, their children also have challenges. Oftentimes those challenges are related to the exact same challenges that the parent has because they're living in the same environment, right? And you're not treating that. If the child's not better and happy and thriving, it's hard for the parent to be thriving. Right.
I don't know if you've noticed on, sometimes you go to see the doctor, one of the questions is, do you feel safe at home? You know, some of these questions that are like these goes to the status of your mental health and your circumstances. Yeah, so it's interesting.
Well, that's also a part of longevity, right? When you measure longevity, you got your grip strength, your walk speed, and also your economic status is part of longevity, where you live, and what if lower incomes have a tendency to live a shorter life, right? It's what's the resources that are available to them. So it's part of exactly what you were just saying too. Right. Your environment is everything.
Oh, it really is. It took me a long time to understand this. I mentioned, my siblings and I grew up in poverty in Pittsburgh. It was, I was probably in my mid-30s before I understood the notion of social determinants of health. And what that means is basically your zip code, where you were born, where you grew up, determines 80 to 90% of your life, right? So I grew up in an area called East Liberty in Pittsburgh. And if you were to track what the average life experience was there was very little economic opportunity, low-income families, low-income housing, very limited access to healthcare, processed and canned foods, like people are not eating fresh and healthy foods.
Food desert.
The vast majority of people at the time were not getting were not finishing high school a lot. Very few were going on to advanced degrees, education.
Yep.
When you add all of that stuff up.
Environmental conditions.
Social determinants of health, you are likely to stay where you were born and have the same challenges there for as long as you were in that environment. Yeah. And your children are likely to be born there, and the cycle will repeat and repeat.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Frontline just did a big documentary on that, the cycle of poverty, and how difficult it is to break out of that. They interviewed a bunch of people in very, very tough situations.
But they got liquor stores in every corner, and they got McDonald's everywhere. There's no grocery stores or anything like that. It's crazy.
Yeah. You have all the anchors that reinforce life is hard, and you can self-medicate in any way you choose to stay where you are.
Right. Unless you break the habit and break the mold. I was exposed to, very similar to my childhood. I was exposed to a lot of drugs in my family, or exposed to it, gambling. It was crazy, but you have to break that chain. Yeah. Which I certainly did. And I'm going to do an episode on that.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Joe, let's touch back on sort of your aha moment. And I know there was a period in your life where you sort of hit rock bottom that helped you make this transition into what you're doing now. You want to talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. So after I left public company life, and this was shortly after the death of my twin sister, I had in my mind, I had created multiple businesses for public companies, which went on to be several $100 million in revenue. Mm-hmm. And in my mind, it was, I'm doing this for them. Why don't I do it for myself? This will be super easy. Well, after I left public company life, what I learned was it's not super easy. It is so freaking hard. It's unbelievably difficult. Yeah. I mean, as entrepreneurs, you know this, to create something from scratch and then to hurdle after hurdle after hurdle to sort of push that boulder uphill is so hard. So I started my first business, which was called My Daddy U, as in My Daddy University. Uh-huh. And it was to help men become better fathers. And this was a reaction to my own experience where I did not have a healthy relationship with my father. I hated him for most of my life growing up. It took me a long time to sort of understand and forgive him and the disease that he suffered from, and alcoholism. But what I learned was when I started my first company, I had to go back to school. I had no idea what I was doing. Like, oh, this is going to be a technology business. It's going to be subscription based. And so it took me probably 2 years to faceplant. If you're going to faceplant, you want to do it faster. Everybody faceplant faster, like fail faster than that. And so then I started working with a wide array, probably 30, 40 different digital health startups. I knew I wanted to do something around health, relationships, family, et cetera. And lo and behold, being in a mindfulness practice and training with some of the top trainers like Mark Coleman, like a Sharon Salzberg, et cetera, connected me with investors who were interested in this space and who also were practicing mindfulness. Mm-hmm. And then that led me to Headspace, to have the opportunity to do that turnaround. That led me to creating my own company and selling that, and then being involved in investing and running other companies. But people often look at the end story and think like, wow, man, you've been really lucky. And the truth is there was probably a 3-year period where I was very depressed. The company I was building wasn't working out. Coming to the realization I did this too quickly. I probably should have stayed in my comfy corporate job, which I hated, but it paid well, right? And waking up every day with the idea of like, I'm not sure how this is going to go. But I know it's not going well. Mm. And then having that end definitively, my daddy, you being a failure, that was probably the first big failure. I mean, we all have dozens and dozens of failures, throughout our career. But that was the first big failure where I put a lot of my own money into it. It didn't go well. And I realized you don't have the skills to do this. But instead of giving up, I came to the conclusion like, okay, so I have to get the skills to do this. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Right. And I think that's what served me well my entire life is like, you have to constantly go back to school, constantly learn, evolve, be curious. And now it's second nature. I've been involved in creating, multiple companies that have done well, and I've been fortunate through that process, but it all came out of like depression, heartache, failure, before something stuck, and I had some success.
Nice. Nice. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you. That's amazing. Yeah. I've had that share too. This is Vex is my fourth startup, and the other three, whatever it was, but I've lost all three of them. I got them to the top, and then they were all basically natural disasters: COVID, the 2008 recession, and the hostile takeover. But as you said, I just never gave up. I think adversity was my best friend. When COVID hit, I remember I lost everything. Had a great corporate wellness company going, and I remember I was in the fetal position in my closet crying, and like, it's over. How do I support my family? My wife was holding me for 45 minutes or so. And that's when Scott and I became closer. And then Evexia was born through all that, the lowest I've ever been. And now we have one of the best things I've ever done in my life, which is Evexia. But all those, I guess, rock bottom moments, as I take a step back, I learned so much. I was able to just put it all together and put everything into this. And this is it.
That's it, brother. That's how it comes together. You keep pushing, and something happens.
That's right.
There was I was talking to someone about this the other day. I'm doing a keynote in a few weeks at the Behavioral Health Technology Conference, and they said we want everyone to walk onto their recovery song, walk on stage to your recovery song. Ooh. And I was kind of like, I had to think about it for a second.
What would be mine? Yeah.
And then where I landed, and I had this sort of very odd, like, healing PTSD moment. And I was like, oh, you know what it's going to be? It's going to be Frank Sinatra, My Way. Because when I had hit rock bottom, I would wake up every single morning, and in the shower, I would start my day by singing My Way. And it's a weird mix of like a sad song, but really hopeful. Yeah. Right. And one of my favorite lines in that is like, regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. Yeah. And like, that's always been my mindset, is like, you got to be positive, never focus on the negative, like drive. Yeah. With everything, I think this came from my mother, with everything we went through my mother had a form of muscular dystrophy. She was diagnosed at when she was late 30s. So she wore leg braces on both legs, had to walk with a cane, needed, us on both sides as we were teenagers, my brother and I, and my twin, and then quickly transferred to, like, she needed a wheelchair to get around. Yeah. And she lived till 90. So she, needed the service of a wheelchair from, for the last probably 45 years of her life. But she was always positive. She lost 3 kids. She bounced back after losing 3 kids. She never let her, being married to someone who suffered from alcoholism, my father, not a good husband. She bounced back from that. Always took care of her family. Always had something to look forward to. Always talked to us about what's coming up. Right. What are you looking forward to in your life? And for me, I look back. She passed away in February. I will always have her as an anchor in my life, that kind of positivity.
For sure.
Anyways, it reminded me of that song because what's your recovery song? I'm like, I don't think I have one. Then I was like, oh shoot,
you definitely have one.
I sang the same song in the shower for 2 years, to keep myself from crying because I had things were so terrible.
That's amazing. I think mine. I just thought of one. Phil Collins, "Man on the Corner," because I feel like this lonely man. Because I'm a trailblazer. I feel right, and a lone wolf, and that song resonates to me. Also, Peter Gabriel, "Don't Give Up," that song too. Those 2 songs, which is a very cool exercise to do.
Yeah,
I like that.
I reserve the right to think about mine a little more.
All right. You want to come back with one that's way better than ours.
Yeah, I just came up with one. I can't think about it, but if you had to think about what comes up.
God, I can't. There's so.
So he won't put himself out there.
I guess Rush, Free Will.
There it is.
Yeah. Even if you haven't made a choice, you still made a choice.
Like it.
It's just the power of free will. The power to change your mindset, the power to change your destiny. Yeah. In any given moment, free will. Yeah.
This is now that we're talking about it, this is a great dinner conversation topic.
It really is.
What's your recovery song?
What's
What's your comeback song?
Exactly.
What do you mean? Where were you? When were you at rock bottom in your life?
Exactly.
And what song was the anchor to help you bounce back?
I love that. And James McLaren would tell me the same thing. Well, he not this, but he brought up the pies, which is it's a great thing to bring out at the dinner table too. And pies is an acronym for how you feeling physically, intellectually, emotionally, and spiritually. And you bring that out, and it's just you come up with a lot. And I did it with my kids when my daughter was in town. She lives in Denver, and they don't like to speak a lot. I mean, she's 25, my son's 21, and my wife. And I just sprung this out, and my daughter was so into it, man. And she just peeled back these layers on how she felt, and it was great. That it came to my son, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not going to say anything." So I kind of twisted. I said, "So, talk about your playbook in football. So, how do you think intellectually about that when you memorize your playbook?" And then he started there, and then he just started going. Just kickstarted him. But it's a great exercise to do. Yeah. Is the pies, and I do it every morning. That's how I start my day outside of my meditation. And it really works for me. It sets the tone. It's like checking on myself.
Absolutely. So many great tools at our disposal.
Yeah.
Hey, so we don't have much time left. I want to talk a little bit about AI, and then you always like to leave your keynotes, the guests in your keynotes, with some takeaways. So we'll let you take us out on that. So, right. But on AI, there's no doubt it's going to help the scientists and the pharmaceutical companies and the researchers in terms of the protein fold problem's been solved, and that's going to spark so much revolution in that side of healthcare. But should the rest of us consumers, when you think about AI psychosis, bad advice, hallucination, should consumers be concerned? And what is healthcare going to look like in 10 years?
I think consumers should be concerned. And we should utilize all of these tools in balance. If anyone's seen the movie Her, you see the downside of turning AI into your companion.
And that's happening right now.
Yeah, it is. And it's really concerning, but I think it's feeding into the serious mental illness challenges that society is facing and the mental health crisis that we have. And so I think for the average consumer, learn these tools. It's like anything else. Learn these tools and when to use them, and do so in moderation. Mm-hmm. When it comes to taking care of your mental, emotional, and physical well-being, work with real human beings, work with experts, and be consistent about it.
Yeah.
Right? I think the preventive side of things, self-help, watching videos, audios from experts is great. Like learn the kind of life skills you need, but don't get sucked in where it's kind of like, oh yeah, I use AI for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get concerned when I hear, Mark Benioff several months ago said like, oh yeah, I've given up my therapist. I'm just using AI now.
Right.
And it's kind of like, no,
Right.
I don't get that.
we're not there.
We're not there.
I don't get that.
And as I say, physical human connection is probably the most important thing in everyone's life. Right.
Find your Evexia in your community.
Find your
If you're in
Evexia.
Southern Marin, come to Evexia. We have it built. And if you're not, find the next best version of it wherever you're at.
That's right.
Yeah. With going to the, a therapist, I can't do a therapist as released on a Zoom. I have to be in person. I'll never lose focus of human contact. That's just my perspective. So when people get sucked into that, I don't understand it. I don't think I ever will. I don't think how when people have to be self-taught in my mind and self-thinkers. And I understand that it's valuable, but as it relates to things for mental health, I want someone to talk to a real person. I want to see a real person. I want to touch you.
Yeah, no doubt.
This is
No doubt.
I want to bring this up because I think it's a very it's an important topic we haven't covered yet. But when you think about all of the apps that are out there, and I've been involved with helping to create a bunch of these, so there's self-reflection here as well. I think one of the biggest problems that we've created in society is the idea of like, oh, here's an app, you can do it yourself, stay at home, don't talk to anyone, you got this, figure it out, and then that becomes your lifestyle. And overlaying on these apps takes you away from humanity instead of bringing you closer to humanity. So I would just encourage everyone to keep a balanced view towards what you're using these tools for and just recognize them as tools, not replacements.
Yeah. It's almost like this, taking drugs to get fit, right? You got to exercise. You got to put the work in, So same kind of a balance. There's no magic pill. The LGP1, the shots, they're great, but you have to still exercise. Don't rely on the source. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're always looking for hacks. Always looking
The
for
shortcuts.
There's no hacks to human connection.
That's right.
So Joe, take us out with some things that our listeners can take with them to help with mindfulness and peace and or perhaps advice on how to navigate this new changing healthcare industry.
Absolutely. So I wanted to share 3 tips in the spirit of Evexia's Blue Zone approach.
All right.
These all fit with the Blue Zone.
Love it.
So Blue Zone has 9 different aspects to it. One is downshift on your stress. So this one relates to sleep. A lot of people are always surprised to hear the science behind insomnia is like we actually train insomnia. We practice it. Right? So you think about the idea of you lay down at night and then those neural pathways start firing of like what went wrong today, who can I get even with, who am I going to kill tomorrow, like all that worry and regret and anxiety. The moment your head hits the pillow, the brain says, I'm now in position to worry. That's a trained behavior. So to unwind that trained behavior, I would say incorporate a downshift for your sleep routine. So no phone and no screens for, call it 30 minutes before you go to bed. You don't want to eat, for 3 hours before going to bed. And instead of laying down and worrying for 15 minutes before you try to doze off, incorporate 5 or 10 minutes of light yoga, stretching, some relaxation, a hot bath, whatever it is, just to reset your mind, right? Don't go to bed with the mind worrying.
Yeah.
That's one. 2 is around one of the Blue Zone principles, like, find your tribe.
Yes.
You got to have the right tribe, and they're focused on community, they're focused on good health, et cetera. And I would say too many of us get locked in social isolation. Just a couple times a week, call anyone. Just call somebody you love and say, I was thinking about you, and see where that conversation goes.
Yep.
Because more often than not, it'll turn into, let's get together for lunch or dinner. Let's go for a hike. Let's go to Evexia. Let's play pickleball, whatever it is. Make that a part of your day, your routine.
Yep.
Right? A couple times a week.
I've always found the commute is the best time to do that for those that commute.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, if you got a long commute, get on the phone. Yeah, cycle through your Rolodex. Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. Make people feel, how amazing is it, by the way, when someone hears, I was thinking about you.
I was just texting our producer, Megan, before we started this. I have this gentleman, his name is Butch Cooper, and I haven't talked to him in 15 years, as my birthday was yesterday. And all of a sudden this morning I
Happy
get this,
birthday.
thank you. I got to 57, by the way.
My man, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, it's a tough age. But all of a sudden he comes up and it made me feel so good, man. And I'm like, to your point, but it's great to hear from you. Let's catch up soon. Much love. And so we scheduled a call for Monday. I haven't talked to him in like 15 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
It is.
It's a special feeling when that
for
happens.
sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool.
The final tip, and this relates to the Blue Zone principle, like focused on loved ones, right? Too many of us train negativity, right? We wake up in the morning and it's sort of like, oh, man, what's going to happen at work today? What kind of knuckleheads I have to deal with today, right? And we start with negativity, and then we go to bed, we lay down at night, and we're just kind of like, we think about like, I can't believe someone said that to me, or someone did that, someone wronged me. That negativity becomes a trained behavior. Marty Seligman has done a lot of research on this. Once again, those neural pathways go right there. You train the mindset to be positive or negative over the course of time. So if you're one of those folks that wakes up and goes to bed with negativity, you got to flip that and just introduce gratitude. So when you wake up in the morning, like, what are 3 things I'm grateful for? Think about loved ones. You go right there. How good is my life? I've got amazing kids. I got an incredible wife. Like even my dog, I love my dog. Just think about the people in your life. What are you grateful for? What's going well? And when you go to bed at night, do the same thing. Just 3 things. And if you have a partner, do it out loud. Bring them into it. Before we go to bed, I just want to let you know, I'm so grateful for you, to have you in my life. You know, the way our kids are progressing. You know, I'm grateful for whatever it is.
Yep.
Right? You'd be shocked at how quickly you can change that mindset of like, all I do is worry to like, all I do is just like appreciate my life. So
Yeah, you're really great at that, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm working on those. There's something you said that we're such in alignment because I do those things. I get up at 2 in the morning, fortunately for me, but I go to bed early. But it's my focus is gratitude and intention.
Yeah.
And, you know, I learned intention not too long ago. It was like start my day with intention. I remember I would just wake up and come in and just, okay, what's the day going to bring me? But now I'm going to go in, I'm going to be the best leader. I'm going to be the best husband. And I'm going into with my business partner this way.
That's right.
It
What
all
am I
works.
going to bring the day?
What am I going to, yeah.
That's right.
That's right.
I like
Show
that.
up. Love it.
Joe, thank you for making this an amazing podcast, sharing your
Yeah.
insights, your wisdom, your vulnerability. We really appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
It's my pleasure. I appreciate you guys. Thanks so
Happy
much.
Halloween,
And thanks
too.
for what you're creating here, man. The world needs it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Right on.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And that's a wrap on the next episode of the Evexia Exchange.
They just keep getting better and better, Scott.
We'll see you next time.
See you later.